Hey everyone, if you're watching this video probably know why, so I will skip the introduction. Actually thought about making this video for a while, a couple of days. I didn't really know if I should do it or not, but I think at least I should get my opinion out there. And that's also mainly due to the fact of how Spitfire reacted to the crowd reactions, mainly than how the crowd reacted to basically the winner announcement of the Westworld Scoring Competition 2020. What I honestly don't want to do is turn this video into a rant. What I want to achieve is just basically be helpful. So actually being also participant at the premiere event of announcing the Westworld Scoring Competition winner, I had the chance to see the live reactions as the winners were announced. I mean, winner and then runners up. And basically what happened is, or actually what didn't happen, and I think it's people kind of like got the wrong idea, is that nobody really had any issue with the runners up. I mean, everyone was perfectly fine with those scores. They thought they got well-deserved position. The only problem came when the winner was announced, at which point in time the chat really exploded. I mean, basically people were like saying what's going on and so on. What's this? Is this kind of like a joke, you know, before like announcing the real winner? Basically, people were saying that the winner didn't respect the rules. The winner was found to have worked with or for a project where also J.J. Abrams have worked on in the past. He had already like a long-term Hollywood career and so on. I believe also that the music scene, the music didn't really fit the scene. So pretty much those 3 points, I would say, or at least I can remember, were addressed, and nobody really answered that. I mean, the video actually got disliked massively. I mean, there is only one video I can remember that got disliked that massively, and that was like Diablo Immortal announcement. And that's basically what happens when people really get what they don't really expect. I believe, I mean, myself included, for example, I've participated in competition, of course, but I didn't really thought I was going to win, because I mean, it didn't really make much sense. I mean, myself included, I kind of like broke those rules. I just like uploaded my music there just because I thought in the end it turned out to be, I mean, good enough just to, you know, share it, but never really thought that it's going to win, because I mean, basically I broke the rules, right? Which apparently also happened with David's case. As majority of musicians usually, and I also saw other reactions video about that, we upload stuff not necessarily to win, but to, you know, get our music out there and, you know, get some more views for whatever we do. So we don't really expect to be the best from, you know, in this case 11,000 participants, which is quite a lot. So at the same time, what would you expect when that happens is that whoever is winning is going to have done a work that's going to blow your mind, which in this case didn't really happen. I mean, it was something different, completely different what everybody else expected outside of whoever took the decision of, you know, designated. If this competition, of course, is not a scam, and I have my doubts about it, but if it's not, and if it's like, you know, honest and so on, I mean, by all means, congratulations to David for winning this. I mean, The fact that he had previous, has done previous work in the past on Hollywood doesn't really mean that he shouldn't have entered the competition. I mean, this was a free competition for everyone to enter. One thing that probably should have been specified from the beginning is that this competition is aimed at, amateur musicians and not necessarily like professional ones. But at the end of the day, you cannot really blame him for participating, right? I mean, I would say it's fine in a sense. The problem why people also think that this is a scam is that because they really didn't get an answer to their questions. Basically what happened, Spitfire, after seeing the massive dislikes on the YouTube video and also the huge amounts of negative feedback in the comment sections, across all channels, because YouTube was kind of like the main one where this was happening, but also like Twitter, Instagram, you name it, everyone was like saying negative stuff. But the reaction was basically, again, I have to make the parallel with the Diablo announcement. They should not show the basically like dislike counter. They kind of like hit that you can like or dislike the video, but they don't really know how much like or dislike the video had, and disabling comment sections across other social media accounts, for example Instagram. I mean, on Twitter probably cannot do it. Not sure, not really a heavy Twitter user. Basically their answer was to people's not understanding what was going on, basically silence. And then a couple of hours later, Christian Hansen posts his own basically reaction to what happened on YouTube. He's saying, in just a couple of words, guys, look, basically every single director would have voted for David, because he, found his own voice and all that. I think the expectation is, or should have been, that there will always be a certain group of people which, in the certainty where they will see they won't win a competition, they'll, just rant and be negative about it. But let's be honest, the vast majority of musicians are actually friendly. They know their place. Everyone, aims always higher, and they want bigger projects and so on and more listeners. But at the end of the day, most people are perfectly capable of knowing their level, their experience, and also what they are capable of doing. So just to assume or say that every single one of those people who send negative feedback your way is just ranting, basically, it's just totally wrong. Okay, that doesn't do any good. That actually, and this is actually the fact, guys, because I mean, let's actually start with the improvement part, because I actually have a couple of points that I believe Spitfire can use to, repair the image, basically. And let's start with the points, okay? So if we judge it point by point, I think it's should be clear enough. So the first point was, okay, David broke the rules. Okay, fine, okay, fair enough. So Spitfire can come out and say, okay, you mentioned David broke the rules. We say he didn't, and here's why. Okay, here's why. Those were the rules, and all points have been met. Simple and easy to do. It can be a blog post, it can be another YouTube vid. Just explain that stuff. I mean, why not? What's the secrecy there? I mean, if you say David didn't broke the rules, just also argument why. Make people understand why he didn't break the rules. Okay. I think it's easy enough. Okay. The second point was, okay, some people complained that their vids didn't get any hit. Either they didn't get any hit, or they specifically didn't get any hit from the UK. Okay. From where the Spitfire basically studio is based. That translates to people basically saying, okay, Spitfire say that you've gone through and went through all of those single entries. I didn't get any hit. Explain again why. It's just easy as that. So what's your process? Elaborate the process. So look, just come honestly forward. Say, look guys, we got like 11K submissions, right? We didn't expect that. It's like a huge number. We couldn't like process that in, you know, the amount of days that we had to process all applicants. So what we had to do is just come with another process. Okay, we clicked on every link, a single link with watch like queue, specific queues, you know, 5 seconds length, whatever, 10 seconds length. And if you find something interesting, it's fine. You make up to a short list. If not, okay, we, you know, basically move on. So make this clear. I mean, what's that hard? I mean, I believe if they would have, also the announcement video was super weird and wrong at the same time. So they could have just done, you know, guys, you know, before we announce the winners and runner-ups, here are like a couple of images from what happened in the studio while we were, you know, checking your entries, you know, and you can, you know, have a camera in the studio, filming the crew and the staff there, like, you know, clicking those links, watching the scene, hearing those scores, you know, face palming, being happy, being astonished, whatever the reaction, just film a couple of reactions, okay? I mean, that would have, I'm absolutely certain that would have, you know, lowered the impact of people saying that the links haven't been watched by a lot. The next point is like, David, you know, worked in Hollywood previously. All right. All right, cool. Just tell people, hey, unfortunately, we didn't, you know, restrict the competition in any way, so everyone could have participated. It's fair enough. I mean, at the end of the day, is their competition. They can have whatever rules they want. Personally, I think it's a bit, you know, not necessarily fair. It's like, you know, competing with a Olympics runner in a, you know, on a city race or whatever. I believe they're like, this should be restricted, but anyway, if it wasn't, then I believe it's fine. I honestly don't see any point in debating that further. Other than that, why David was chosen as a winner? Again, simply, you know, let people know. I mean, why would have been complicated to, you know, ask the jury and tell them their arguments? I mean, right, we had to choose between these entries, and we find this the most interesting because this and this and this, right? This will also come to the point where they could explain how the music fits their scene in the, you know, interview, because it's also another complaint of, you know, the comments was like, guys, come on, this music doesn't really fit the scene in any way. And I mean, look, you don't really have to be a musician or anything to figure out that the music doesn't fit the scene. Okay, so that being said, I also got the feedback myself from other people, which they're not really like musicians, but they actually said, I mean, what's this? I mean, it doesn't really look like it fits the thing. It's like, you know, playing a movie and, you know, having like Spotify open at the same time. What makes me think that this competition wouldn't go as far as saying, you know, arrange or anything, but at least a bit unjust is the fact that they don't really give those answers publicly. At least they prefer to, you know, treat us with silence, and at the same time also silence those voices which are, you know, basically stating their opinion, and also at the same time treating us like, you know, people who are just like trolling, basically. I mean, guys, come on. Basically, this is your own community you're talking to, you know. I mean, the competition was announced, I believe, on email, or at least I got an email from Spitfire that this is happening. I'm not sure if that got announced on any other channel. Some people probably found that on Google and so on, but at the end of the day, I believe if you really weren't like following Spitfire directly, you wouldn't have known that this even took place. Okay, so basically these people are kind of like following you out already for a while, and therefore they had the chance to participate in your competition. So just like, you know, discrediting every single voice that addresses your negative feedback, don't think it's actually a very good idea, and particularly I don't see why you'd be having any benefit for you unless you would want to, you know, hide some story behind those, you know, tricks that you're currently like playing. Before we get into the idea that, you know, I'm one of those guys which are, you know, making a video and talking about it just because it wasn't really designated the winner. I mean, just a couple of things. Firstly, I saw the competition quite late. Honestly, I think it was either 2 or 3 days before the closing date. So I didn't really have too much time to prepare my score. I started working on it and realizing that I don't have enough time to, you know, do all that. So I had to adjust my schedule and so on, but couldn't like, you know, really move everything away. And I had very short time to actually do my score. What I ended up doing, I mean, you can check out my video there. I don't want to like, you know, repeat that. But basically I took like a piece of Beethoven's third movement, Moonlight Sonata, and replaced basically the Ride of the Valkyrie part from the, you know, original soundtrack. Over that, I kind of like added a couple of layers and so on. But at the end of the day, the rules were saying that, you know, your work has to be original. Mine wasn't. However, couldn't like do much more than that in that time, alright? But knowingly, I actually uploaded that just because, you know, at the end of the day, kind of like sounded alright for me, and I didn't see, you know, why I wouldn't upload it. But again, also knowing that I will like 100% get disqualified. I've opened a ticket with their support, like, you know, on there, I think those like two days to ask and clarify if this was, you know, alright to use that. And they were like saying, hey man, look, it's not, if you use it, probably we're, you know, not going to notice you because we are looking for like, you know, original work. I mean, that's fair enough. Okay, it's also stated in the FAQ section, everything was clear. So on my end, I didn't really have any expectations on this thing anyway. I had like fun and like doing the score. It was like a nice experience, you know, like writing music for, you know, that particular scene. By the end of the day, I didn't have, you know, high hopes for it. What I would have expected, regardless of this, is that, you know, I was like, you know, who's going to win this, you know, because like it's a big competition, like surely there are like super big names, like, you know, participating. There will like probably be a super amazing score that I can't hear to wait. And what ended up happening was like not really what I expected. Okay, and my beliefs and also vision and expectations were like matching with a lot of other guys and girls. Yeah, I mean, just saying that, you know, people are just trolling. No, they're not. They basically don't agree with your decision. I mean, look, let's face it. If the score was like amazing, no one could have been able to say anything. Let's just face that. There are like people who like criticize to this day like super big and successful bands. So there will always be like those kinds of people. But the vast majority of, you know, listeners would say, great, good job. If you know, hear a super good piece of music which fits the film perfectly, and, you know, it has all kinds of, you know, super nice elements to it, you cannot say, you know, your music is, you know, bad. I mean, who you can say it, but I mean, there will be like 20 million other people which will say, guy, come on, I mean, how is this bad? It's like super amazing. It has this, and this. Here's not the case. I have to say it. It's not really the case. I honestly, the first time I heard the score, I was like a bit shocked and couldn't really, like, you know, be able to focus like 100% of the music itself. Had to listen it like a couple of days later, like once everything got a bit more chill again. And I mean, it's fine, but at the end of the day, it's not like the biggest thing that could have been. I honestly think that easily any of those 5 runners-up would have been a better choice for the winner. That's just my opinion. The effect that this thing had on me is basically that I've unsubscribed from all of the channels. I don't see why I would follow a company which, you know, is really unjust in treating their customers and audience And it's simply just that. I mean, choosing, a winner from 11,000 is like super hard. But then at the end of the day, I don't believe it was, one would have expected to see, or to hear in this case, those super small details that make a huge difference. I watched a couple of more reactions on YouTube, and basically they were just saying this guy has done this as a joke, and I mean, in itself it's fine, you can do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, the vast majority of people would have expected to have a score that actually fits the theme and the movie, because that's kind of like what was requested in the first place. So just doing, something completely different just from the sake of sticking out of the crowd. I mean, it's fine, you stick out of the crowd, you're like, unique and so on. But at the end of the day, if it's not what it's needed, I don't see like, the point at the end of the day, I don't see how you would sit on your couch watching probably HBO Go or whatever it's called, and at the same time scrolling, watching your Facebook feed on your phone, and you get this sound, right? It immediately gets your attention. You're going to watch whatever happens. But at the end of the day, after like 5 seconds, it starts to get weird, and you're like, oh, what's this? I mean, come on, it's like really wrong. Anyway, long story short, I believe if they would have, been truthful and all that, they could just easily tell us and tell basically not like me or anything, but their community, they can give some explanations, right? If they, are respectful of that community, of course, and they want to do that, and if they can do it, basically. I think it's super easy to do. I don't see why it would be hard, okay? Now, if you're saying, hey, these guys don't owe us anything, especially for like, competition and blah, 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 and like, people, like, what does Spitfire owe me? Okay, they don't owe me anything, but at the end of the day, fine. If they don't like to have like, they want to, minimize their audience, by all means, why not? I mean, of course, they can also do that. What's anyone owing anybody at the end of the day? I mean, if Spitfire doesn't own their community, honesty and explanations, and they like, treat them as, an internet ranting horde, then I don't see why the internet ranting horde at their end will, basically support them. I mean, everyone can do whatever they want at the end of the day. I would say key takeaways from these competitions were, get the scene, have fun, like building the score, see what we can do, learn things, put it out there for other people to hear. That's perfectly fine. If you're like, in my opinion, from the runners up, like super big congratulations to you guys. Honest congratulations. I believe like all of these entries like super worthy of being there. Not sure if the like, other entries which could have outmatched those from the 11K, but that's up to the judge, and that can be in that, personal preference factor, basically. As for the winner, I don't know what to say, I mean, I really just cannot say anything else more than what I've said already. By all means, if the competition is like super congratulations to the winner, well deserved. But yeah, I mean, I have my doubts there, and also basically like not just me, like the whole Spitfire community, or the vast majority of it, judging by the numbers of disliking ratio there, also the comments, and you can be easily fixed by Spitfire if they wanted to. The fact that they don't want to raises even more questions. By the end of the day, I don't see why would we waste any more time with this topic. Just another important thing I would say, it would be to not be, considered as just a ranting horde. Like, guys, look, they're like super good internet communities out there, and I believe just having just being someone who sends negative feedback or critiques to somebody doesn't make you troll. I think that if you want, I'm not saying negative things just for the sake of saying those negative things, but you can also see that I come up, with a couple of touch points that you can actually do and, basically answer all of those negative points. Simple as that. So I think all of the concerns from the comments are just, and they actually, if Spitfire respects their community, they are actually, they should have been answered already by now. At the very least, not, silenced, or even worse, pushing them back with, reaction videos and stuff like that. Hopefully, we're going to see each other very soon. Until next time, you take care. Bye for now.